when we talk about the digital society, we've had 2 days of incessant dialogues on what it means to be a part of the digital society, what it means to be included, excluded, what it means to have access, what it means to not have access, what it means to be marginalized from the system of the digital society, right? So before we actually start the panel discussion, I would like to understand everybody's thoughts on what it actually means to have this access to digital society and then get into talking about the future of it. 2 minutes to each panelist, and then we can come back to me moderating. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Of course, it's an interesting topic. Okay. The digital era has posed us several challenges. So I'll start with the diversity because that was a real issue because I was just studying that more than, certain percentage. I'll not be biased with the percentage also. Okay. Because I think sir agrees with that because again, those numbers are important. So again, people will quote me, how did you get that percentage? So even during the pandemic, it happened that, probably people with some X percentage of the people could not access the digital devices. And, probably we used to get the challenge because I'm also representing the internet society. So where we used to say, reach the unreached. And there we saw this particular thing. And of course, there was a lot of digital divide there. Where, for example, in a particular home, we have one device. And, the entire thing was education to be online. And I'll not say gender divide, but yes, it happened. For example, only one of the person in the family was given access to that particular device. So others were not having any access. There was a great digital divide. There was a gender divide. Okay. And a lot of students has discontinued their education. Similarly, there are a lot of people who lost their job in that particular place where people have to do online things. At that time, of course, because this is very easy to discuss, but again, you get a question, what you want me to do and what you have done. So at that time, we went with a particular thing, a particular project, though it could not reap all benefits, but the project was something like this, like, everybody has multiple devices with them. So like we got that initiative from a medical stream. We have one of the medical shop in city where it says that if you're not using any medicines, give it to them. So what they do is they will circulate to the people who are in needy. So we thought the same as an input and start with the this particular thing where we collect those particular devices from the people and give it to the people who are reached. But we had even connectivity issue. We are very fortunate enough to sit here and have this discussion going online and so forth. But even today, my statistic says we are improving, but about 45% of the Indian population is still not connected. Okay, so there is a big digital divide and we are moving very fast in pace. So there is, of course, a lot of ethical issues and so forth. Moderator has given me 2 minutes. We'll going on discussing it. So meanwhile, I'll give it to the other speaker.
Just a minute. There's a request from the photographer to shift to the left because you're not coming to the frame properly. Yeah. 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 That would. You say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. You say, no. Hi, you come, sir.
So that
Thank
is
you
the
so much and sorry
first
for
challenge.
interrupting the flow. Yeah.
So basically, we should be left of center. That's the ideal spot. Yes. Okay, so let's start with something which is very personal. I am privileged to sit here with my colleagues who are from the communication department, and I will say that I am also a communications guy. Basically, because I did my bachelor's in engineering from electronics and communication engineering. All right. So, but although the word communication is common, but I think so we have been doing entirely different things in our lives. What I would like to say is that uh, the technological domain has leapfrogged several kind of ages, and maybe I'm amongst the unique set of people who are knowing some things which is from which is from the 1900s domain, which is like so valves, electronic valves, and tubes and all that for the radios, and then nowadays to the ICs. And so means there's a huge very wide technological spectrum which the world has undergone through. Okay, now uh, this is from the technological aspect. So um, what is now the most important thing is that how does the divide happen? Okay, the divide happens because it's not just the mere possession of a device. My mother also has got one of the devices, but because of her age, she's 82 plus, her accessing the full capabilities in the device, it is a challenge. All right, so it's not just about the privilege of having devices, it is also about knowing and how to use the technology available to its proper extent. Okay, so and that's okay, that's that's a more difficult thing because it is unique to the set of individuals. And here when we talk about the divide, it is like you would say have and have nots, which is say like a polarization. But when it comes to actual usage, you will find a huge spectrum. In fact, there may be some of us who are from the technological field, but they may not be using the devices as creatively as say somebody who's more on the street, the common person whose livelihood is really dependent upon exploiting the best applications from the device. Okay, they are the ones who are telling us that okay, this is another feature which you can do, and then that's going to make your thing better. So maybe say like let's say um, that there is a street vendor. Okay, the street vendors are also now having certain devices in their hands, and but they are the ones who are really going and pushing the frontiers of whatever is available in that. Okay, so at the other end, there are people who, because of they're not being able to spend time with the device, they're really so busy that okay, if you go to an ultra rich person, he'll just hand over his device to another assistant and say okay, you take care of it, right? So these are two extremes wherein it's not just about the economical aspects. Okay, this just I'm trying to bring out certain nuances which can also be possible, which is also causing a divide. Yes, we accept that these things are also causing a divide. Okay, we can still talk a bit further about that. Okay, I move on to the others.
Thank you. So both of them talked about digital divide and what it is going to do. But when I saw this topic, initially I thought what the future of digital will be for us in our society when we are so divided in many aspects. See, we all are talking about digital India, the initiatives, digital literacy, everything, but we are forgetting that there is large percentage of people who are completely out of this frame, actually. I'll just give you a simple example. See, we all do our financial transactions now with UPI. It's so easy, and nobody has cash in hand. Yeah, but my problem is when my domestic help, she isn't completely illiterate. She doesn't know how to transact, even how to use the mobile phone, smartphone, I mean to say. But every month, whenever, nowadays it has become a norm that, we will just transfer them. You give your number, we will transfer the money. But because she was forced to do that, she has given her son's number to transfer that amount. But she was not telling that earlier, because I used to get physical money, I used to be empowered with that. Whatever I want, I can do with that money. But now, because she has to depend on her son, whatever she wants to do, even if she wants to help her parents, oldest parents, she has to get permission from her son to get that money to help her. So like her, I think millions of people are there who are just completely out of this frame. So when we are talking about any policy, any this thing, I think we should always keep in mind about this sector and how to empower this sector and how to enable this sector to come bring in this circle. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, the conversation very naturally came to what I wanted to talk about next. You know, the topic itself is a conundrum. It says the future of digital society. But we also want to talk about, do we need a digital future, for example? Because there are so many people who are still on the margins, who are excluded from everyday digital presence. And in fact, yesterday we did a session with the community, like we did a session on the community in Jharkhand who are coal miners, right? They don't even have a fingerprint to get their wages. But we are talking about a digital society. So what do you think, according, like, you know, if I could just pick your brain on that, when we say the future is digital, and this is a pre-assumption, we're assuming that everybody will be digital, which is why the future is digital and we want to talk about it. What are the things that are missing from a digital future that is very important to be included before we actually start having conversations like this or start making policies that are inclusive? I'll start with Salman.
Of course, the future of that is digitization is indispensable. It is going to happen. But we have a lot of challenges which we need to deal with that. I'll talk about, because the buzzword where I have seen artificial intelligence. Okay, where probably again I'll not quote, please don't ask me which country, though I could quote it, but a bit reluctant to do it at this public forum. So there is a country where, people from the prison are freed based upon the AI outcome. Okay, hope some of the people sitting here know that very well. So in that particular country, what happened is there was only one sect of people who were always relieved from these particular prisons, but people even whose attitude was good, who were very good, but still they were not removed from these particular jails. This is because this was not a person who was monitoring, it was AI system which was giving this particular outcome. So when things went on very badly, then somebody challenged this AI decision making in the court of law. And finally it was got to know that the data which is put onto these particular systems was totally wrong, because this was biased data. Number two, they were also taking the input for a particular community, particular category, particular sect from the internet, messaging system. Either you call it as a Twitter or something else. Even that was going as an input. As a result, a person who was really a good person was not relieved from this particular jails. So first thing is, even the data what is coming up should be kept it right. Okay, till then it should not be trusted. Second, number two is, like so-called, I'll quote it again, like I got to know a news through a newspaper probably a couple of years back, where it said in the newspaper that 7 lakh ration cards were cancelled. Now the question is, on what basis these 7 lakh ration cards were cancelled? Okay, I don't know that. But what I got to know from later on is nothing but this was the input which was given through AI system. And there were a lot of people who should have a valid ration card, but this got cancelled because the data which was provided was like this. So here, the last point which I would like to say, that these challenges has to be addressed, and yes, we need to move to the digitization. There is no other thing through that. And of course, if you talk about that, today, probably you might have seen that particular ad where Google says, okay, we want to hire you, but we know everything about you. I think you heard about that ad. Google is hiring, okay, you just walk in, we know everything about you. Now, is this right? Is that correct? Absolutely correct. Okay, this again I quoted, one of my very good higher-ups. I sent him his CV. Through email, and I got it through ChatGPT. Okay, and these days I'm telling you that somebody is asking my profile, I'm not giving it. I said, please ask ChatGPT. Okay, and you can try it. If you want to know more about me, please go and ask ChatGPT. That you want to know more about Salman Abdul Moiz, who works at University of Hyderabad. It gives more better details. But there is a challenge, let me tell you. I think in probably 1.5 years back, I wrote to my ChatGPT to generate my CV. It generated 2-3 points which should not be there in public platform. It said that, You are a member of a selection committee since 5 years. My goodness, people will shoot me. You are a member of grievance committee since so many years. Who has provided that information? Any idea who has provided the information? It's me. And I'm targeted. And I'm saying that why I'm targeted. Okay, so then what I did it, I googled it, I found those particular things, went to that portal and got it removed. I'm not saying your data should not be there in internet, because today you are recognized by your digital prints which are available on internet. But see that they are well properly maintained. So in summary, what I would like to say is we need to address these challenges. We'll again come back to ethics later. Probably you will put a question. Okay, we need to address these challenges. We have to have a digital society, but yes, we have to. Everyone has to work, and I think this is the right platform where everyone becomes a stakeholder. Either if it is a student can take a research challenge, community person can take as a community service. We need to come forward so that we make a very good digital society. Thank you.
Okay, so it's a excellent narration, but about the divide, what I would say is that the progress of technology is inexorable. Okay, right now, in terms of the hardware, that is the chips and other such things, and the recent hardware innovations which has come from the very famous NVIDIA company. No, as you know, it's really on the top of the kind of market valuations, and that is spearheading the technological advances. And so far nobody is able to put any some kind of a real hard limit that where to what extent will it go. But we are already seeing the effects of whatever technologies are available. No, so like I think I need not tell everyone about the dangers of the deep fakes. Okay, that is maybe on the negative side, but on the positive side also there are quite a few advances in applications with respect to, say, medical imaging, diagnostics, and such kind of things which can really help people. All right, so what basically, but the technological advances are going to be inexorable. Okay, what will it imply for the digital divide? Say, let me give you another technological advancement, which is like, uh, has anyone heard about what is called as neural link? Anyone here heard of that neural link? Okay, maybe somebody is nodding, but actually what is neural link? Neural link is when see, right now we have to carry a separate device. All right, but and your phone vibrates or such kind of things, you get to know that there is a message waiting for you. But what if the notification was embedded into your hand or palm, and then you get to know through that, and nobody else needs to know that you got a message waiting for you. Okay, so this from, of course, none other than Elon Musk, who has sort of talked about this Neuralink, and then this is going to be a set of people who are going to go around with they do this operation by which they embed the Neuralink into themselves. And now this is not so new. It has been there for quite some time. Like this, there is a English professor, his name is Warwick. Almost more than 10-15 years ago, when I had met Professor Warwick, he was here in Hyderabad giving some talk and all that. He was really at the cutting edge, bleeding edge, literally, let us say, in which he had such a thing installed into him. All right. So now you imagine that what kind of differences in the society would come when there are a set of people who are having the Neuralink communications, and then there is another set of ordinary people. Okay, maybe let us say lesser mortals, and then let's forget about those who don't have any access whatsoever at all. All right. So with this, what I'm trying to say is that the spectrum of the divide, or if you want to use another term, chasm is going to widen. This is my prediction. It's not that it's whether it's going to be there or not. I am saying that the chasm will be there, and the chasm is going to widen. Okay, how are we going to cope with such a type of huge kinds of inequities? Okay, I think that is where the social challenge will come in. That how do you first of all have and have nots, but then even with them, with those which who do have, between them also there will be going to be a huge spectrum. Okay, so I don't know how it would be. Maybe economists who are dealing with concepts of how to look at the wealth inequity or something like that, they might have some way of at least understanding it. But for the moment, I can't. I'm not able to wrap my head around such kind of things.
So I think we can't say no to the technology advancements. But what I can tell you that when we got social media, for example, social media platforms, so we all enjoyed to connect each other and all. And we created that monster. Now we say that, it is bad for the health, it is bad for the children, it is giving lot of mental health issues, all those things. So, but who created that? We all accepted that, we created that, we accepted that technology. Because now when we talk about, because we have learned something from the social media platforms and social these things, it has done to our society. I think when we are accepting AI in our everyday life, I think we have to be a little bit careful about that. See, for example, I'll give you, if any one of us visited a hospital and just after that, if the doctor asked you to take some tests or something, and immediately see your social media platforms, your email, everything, that you can go to take this health insurance, you can go to that diagnostic centers. There are so many suggestions. But what is happening to our data? So without feeding that data, we are not able to get access to that. But when we feed the data, our data is everywhere. So I think unless until those things are in place, it will be difficult in the future also, if you are only talking about digital society.
Thank you. So I'm going to do something crazy and right align this conversation, right? The future of digital is also, it's bad. It's panopticon, it's big data, it's commercialization of your data, it's selling of your data on platforms that should not have anything about, like you mentioned, your data was available because you put it somewhere and now it's available on every platform about you. It's AI that brings a lot of regulatory problems, that brings in deep fakes, that brings in a lot of issues that come with it, plagiarism, ethical problems, right? So when you have a digital future that also is coming with so much and you don't know how to step back from it anymore, the only solution that is left is also understanding the policy framework that's being built around it, and the fact that the policy framework and the kind of technology that's being built is being built by that 1%. It's being built by men sitting in a room in Bangalore, it's being built by tech bros. So how do we see this, this kind of digital framework that's also being built? For example, AI. I come from an organization that works with the most marginalized and vulnerable communities. They have no knowledge of AI, but they're consuming deepfakes online and it's changing their community's voting patterns, right? So how do you see this tangible effect that it's happening? It's not online anymore. The effect of being online, the effect of digital society is also tangible, it's physical. How do we see that shift? Like, what do you think are the problems that are coming with the digital society, the future of the digital society, and how do we focus on the policy changes that we need to work on?
See, that is more important. Like we of course, we do not have a very tangible policies as of now. Even if we talk about the policies which are there in WHO, that is US, like if we talk about HIPAA laws, okay, Health Insurance Protection Act of US, even we do not have such acts here. So we need to start up with those particular policies at the lower end, because as Madam was talking about health doctor patient record, even those particular records are now available. And of course, as per law, actually these records should not be seen to others. So no, probably that is first thing is we need to have a proper secure mechanism where privacy and security should be a part of these particular data. And whenever we are signing up those particular particulars, because we have a general tendency, specifically we as Indians, that whenever we have to study, that is read some agreements, we just say I accept and sign it. And later on we blame the systems. So that is what it is. Because if you see today, the major problem with these digital devices, specifically if you talk about my mobile or any laptop, And whenever I access any particular portal, the big problem for me is the cookies. And whenever I open a new portal and it says accept, if you just go into that, just take a minute and just go into that, you will be surprised. I'll not talk about a very fake website. I talk about a very international website which is IEEE, okay, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. When there, if you see accept cookies, it says that we are taking all your personal information, we are going to take all your payment information, we are all going to take your all photographs, we are going to take all your contacts, and we said accept it. So the very first thing is whenever we are signing to these particular terms and conditions, that be aware of it. But I'm not saying that you should not just reject it because you cannot access that particular portal. So you just say that what is strictly accessed is required cookies only, you set it. Now I'll tell you an example which happens on my laptop. So I, again, don't be biased on that because I use two portals very frequently. One is Rediff, another is Times of India because I want to see what is happening. So very frequently, this Times of India puts me cookies accept all. But I'll go and say I want only necessary cookies. Every 2 days it gives me. Maybe one fine day I'll get fed up and I'll say, yeah, accept it. There I have given access to everything of mine to Times of India. Next is today, like we are fed up with opening so many email accounts and so many accounts. I still do not remember, I may have 200. The question comes, what is your password? We will not discuss on that at this moment of time. But the problem with these particular portals is we have so many portals available with us. Now, here the security of that becomes a very big challenge for us. So do we need to keep so many portals with us? Is it really required for us? Because we are giving so much of our information. So sometimes what we do is, since we cannot, that is, remember those username is password, we'll say login with Facebook. When you say login with Facebook, it says you are giving access to everything to this particular thing which is there on my Facebook, which are my friends, which are my contact details. And probably this Facebook is also connected to other parties. If I have booked a travel from Delhi, it will give me all advertisement back to Delhi, to Hyderabad, what are my travel plans. That also goes to that person. Yele, though we said that these are implicit imprints, but these are becoming explicit imprints. Because the person on the other hand has got to know that I am in Delhi. Okay. So these things are happening because the policies which are there already in place, we are not reading them. But coming to the actual digital divide, we require a lot of policies. One is with respect to medical, we require policies with respect to use of AI tools. Even in education system, we used to have only plagiarism. Okay. Till now we had plagiarism tool, of course, like academia like us, we say that a student thesis should not have more than 10% of plagiarism. But this plagiarism till now was not having a AI. Now we have an AI part also. But right now, there is no policy on that. I asked a particular person at the government level, sir, what is the policy as of now? So the government official tells me that there is no rigid policy as of now, but you because I am a committee member of that particular so-called plagiarism, whenever you feel that it is greater than certain percentage, please ask that particular person to address it and send it. But right now, there is no policy on that. So of course, the government is coming up with those particular policies. There was one bill passed, probably will be passed. There were some medical bills and digitization bills are there. All these things need to come into picture. But till then, whatever things are there in our hands, just like accepting those terms and conditions, we need to be really careful on it. So what we are doing is we are giving our own data. Okay, we are accepting it, and tomorrow we blame that these are being that is taken by somebody else, and you are targeted for that.
Okay, very good. See, we are talking about policy and legal frameworks. All right. For this, there is only one thing which I would like everyone to remember, which is that it's best said in Hindi, चोर पुलिस से ज़्यादा तेज भागता है. Okay. Basically, what that means is that those who have crooked minds and mentality are all the time pushing the edge to find out new ways to exploit something for their benefit. And as always, policy frameworks are trying to play catch up. Okay, so here it is a universal observation. It is nothing to do with technology and other kind of things. Okay, but what is also the problem is that when certain practices are being introduced, there should be some kind of checks and balances which should be there when they are being introduced. All right. So what has happened is that the Western world, the technology companies, they were given totally a free hand because of the implications of profits, and they're distributing money over, as we all know that the money is used for lobbying and things like that. All right. So that is basically to give you an idea that what has happened, that what has happened with respect to the policy frameworks. Let us just look at something which is that nowadays, which is very innocuous and which might be there in almost every house, is that the small kids, they don't eat their food unless they are entertained. What generally happens, all the grandpas, grandmas, etc., they just give the kid their mobile phone, and then they show some YouTube or whatever something, and then the kid is happily eating, everybody is happy. But then what is the long term effect? The long term effect of that is that the children are addicted to having that phone and the YouTube and all that with them. All right. Now, that is a kind of a behavioral, permanent behavioral modification which is going on. All right. We as a society here, we are permitting, we are enabling, and we are actually using that. All right. So now that is there. And then some people have said that now let's talk about social media accounts for those who are not. Uh, Let us just put it very mildly as not of the drinking age. Okay. So those people who are not of that age, but yet they have social media accounts. In fact, parents are making Facebook and other such accounts for newly born kids and all that. All right. Now, the newly born kid has no right, has no way to stop their parents from putting all these kind of things on onto the social media, where for it may be there forever, or who knows that when the person is going out for perhaps seeking a match or something, then he may be, he or she may be embarrassed uh, at a very inopportune moment. Okay. So these are the kind of things, but which it is, it is really happening. All right. So it's not at all a simple thing. It's a very complex thing which we need to understand, that where or how the policy framework line should be drawn as to what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. All right. And it's a very very tricky ethical issue which is there. Okay. So like let's say, if you wish to be puritanical, puritanical, I'm sorry, I don't get that word right, but if you used to be very kind of purist, okay, and then say that, then you will have to say that no, sorry, you just have to go back to the pre smartphone era or ages, and then just you need to just no and you can actually tell people that you will not die without having that kind of instant communication thing. You can still live a very good life without that. And in fact, if you remember, I'm of the days of the era where my brother, because he was a big business executive with Satyam, had a mobile phone. Now nobody else in our family had a mobile phone. If they were to be given a call or something, then we would have to wait for wait for, or we would have to go to some PCO, or we would have to call from some person or somebody who had actually a landline phone, and then you would connect to another landline phone, and then from there maybe, I don't know, these younger kids wouldn't know of that PP era. Okay. PP era would be that you are going to a phone call booth, and then from there you will call the booth, and then you call it to some, not to the person who you are wishing to speak, but to some neighbor who is kind enough to bring your person back to their phone. All right. So if you look at that kind of era as compared to what we have, is that we have simply some kind of friction free communications all around, all throughout. And as a teacher, I really find that very, very horrible, because the texting is going on constantly in the class, and the people are always looking distracted all the time. They cannot connect with their, they cannot focus on what I'm teaching in the class. It's really a mess. Okay, so um, as I don't know where I mean, what is will as a society itself, we have to start thinking that, what all are the things which is acceptable, not acceptable, and it has to be, like, universally discussed, universally talked about, and we have to come up with ways of sharing and accepting, and propagating these social norms.
So sorry. I just want to talk about here. See, when we are all now use the convenience of technology, like if you want to order your food, if you want to book your tickets, if you want to do anything, actually, if there is Swiggy, Zomato, and all those things. But with this convenience, we all also have to see that what kind of employment we are creating and economy we are creating. When we talk about the gig economy, there is no assurance of job for them. Their salaries are dependent on what the algorithm talks about it. And so this is the era we are entering. The job market is completely like a it's not, there is no permanent jobs, there is no policies for them, firm policies for them. And in the same way, when we talk about online business, see, we all now prefer to order everything online. Already we are dealing with so much of waste management in our country, and we are facing a lot of environmental issues. With this online, we are also creating the package waste, which is huge. It is happening. And how we are going to deal with that? Is there any policies for that? Because all these are spreading so fast, but still we are discussing what kind of policies are needed for this. I think by the time the policies comes in place and put in place, I think the most of the disaster will happen already. So we have to be conscious about this, I think.
Thank you. I think, with like Professor Madhvi said, it's very important to have this conversation as well, where you understand that, you mentioned that students are constantly texting in class. Like, I remember talking to a friend who told me that they are now reading 7 books a week because they just put the entire details on ChatGPT, tells them to give them really long summaries of every chapter, and they get through the books, right? But the idea also is that, so let me come back to my humanities conditioning and, talk about ethics once again. But think about it in this way: for a working class family, for two parents who are working 10-hour shifts every day, coming back home to a crying baby means giving them a phone and saying, go to PUBG. Because you're exhausted. You're stuck in a capitalist structure where you're working constantly. But you're also stuck in a structure where you have children and where you need to have a family and where you need to, present your social identity in this community. And these are very tangible issues that people are now solving with technology because it's very accessible for some and very inaccessible for, a lot. So how do you kind of figure your way through these nuances? It's very easy for us to say that don't give your data, but if I don't give my data, if I don't accept all cookies, I can't read articles online anymore. If I don't give my data, I can't sign into accounts. If I don't give my data, I can't do any of these things. If I'm a PWD person sitting at home and I can't get a Zomato delivery, that means mobility issues for me, right? So how do we figure out our way through these nuances?
No, no. As I said, I'm not saying that you do not give the data. You have to give the data. Okay, the common data which you have to give it, because without that there's nothing available. But you are in a payment information, your family, full inner details of the family, of course, to be avoided. Now, as far as probably you have raised a good question on the Chat GPT and so forth, the LLM models. We have a different challenge which with our students. Probably I'll tell you the latest things which happened with me, because I was a teacher for teaching this publication ethics, and in that I used to take a model on ethics in AI. So probably in those particular classes, I used to first go and tell what are the all ways to cheat. Okay. I think I took a 6-hour session. In that 4 hours, I told what are the various ways to cheat. So even students were surprised, right, sir, knows so many ways to cheat. Okay. Then the last 2 hours, I said, how do we catch? Okay. How do we catch was my next question. Okay. So the thing is that I'll tell you that, of course, the technology has to be used. The chat GPT, I'm not saying it should not be used. Okay. But it should not be misused. The problem is, like I give an example, we need to make our people understand about this, that everything which is coming to these LLM models is not correct. I give an example. I think my colleagues are also sitting here. So where what we do is to make a difference among students. In the question paper, we give a particular question which is really, which they require to think about it. Okay, which is not a direct answer. If they have been present in the discussions, they could answer that. That question makes a difference among a good, bright, and those students. That's what we do it. So this happened 8 months back. Okay, please don't ask me where, which course, and so forth. I don't want to be biased there. So there was an examination which I was conducting, and when I was correcting these papers, I found the answers of those three logical questions. That is, for three students, these answers were same. I was surprised. When there's a logical question, the answers will not be same at all, because this requires thinking. So I was wondering, first of all, the answers were wrong. Please make a note of it. The answers were wrong, but this was, getting in my mind that how come these answers are same among all those three. So what we do, we give a feedback session back to the students. Before that feedback session, what I did is, I asked this question to ChatGPT and it gave that particular answer. Okay. So what I did is, of course, I smiled at it. I said, I got a very good thing today. Okay. I went to the class. I said, today I'm going to have to give you the answer sheets of this particular last examination. These are the 10. Before that, I'll give you the feedback of this, what you have written. So I said, in this last question, I found three people who have written answers which are very common. I don't know how they got the access, but they have copied from ChatGPT, but please mind, all those answers were wrong. Okay. So I said, please don't trust on that directly. But yes, I want to check my grammar. If you see, I probably took some 3-4 sessions in the very last few days on how to use the LLM models for literature survey and research. I myself give the list of tools for that. Now, these tools are very good enough. For example, if I want to search for particular research papers in a particular area, it takes a lot of time for me. But when I use these LLM models, it gets everything at a quick crux. But what it does is, it also gives the summary of everything. I'll tell them, don't take that summary. But at least it got the list of all the papers at one place. Use the technology. Use these tools. You got everything at a place. It gives the priority order also based upon your search. Now you start reading those papers. Okay. So I am saying that this should be used, but there should be proper use, and this should be, of course, told to the people that everything what you are getting may not be correct. Don't trust on it. But of course, it has tools. Okay, that will be a very big session where even I demonstrate those particular tools, how to use it, and people really say, "Wow, so many things are available within touch." And recently, probably because a lot of students are there, researchers could also be there. We did one thing, probably again with respect to same question. We had an idea. We had a problem in our mind. We had an idea. We implemented it. Right? We didn't see what are the literature survey available. After doing everything, we told that ChatGPT, "Bhaiya, kya hua hai isme batao?" So fast. So probably we need to get this culture. We require a lot of motivation to the people, give so many sessions on them to get into these particular things. And let me also talk about, there is also a language diversity there. I was giving a talk in our university on how to use AI for Urdu. And there I told them that you can also do a Urdu search, because I used again Urdu and showed them how it is happening with the ChatGPT. They did not know that. So even those particular Indian language contexts are available, but yes, we require these things to be trained. These ethics should come into picture. Thank you.
Okay, since now we are into one of the important questions which was raised about financial empowerment. Okay, let us because I have personally seen this before my eyes. So here in Hyderabad, there is an institution which is called as Institute for Development of Banking Technology, IDRBT. It is research. It's there at Castle Hills near Wasap Tank. And University of Hyderabad offers a joint program of MTech in in information technology, along with that research institute, which is from the RBI. Now, one of our colleagues there at IDRBT, he was there in one forum which is called as that there the RBI has put this challenge to them, that how are you going to increase the financial access to a very large set of people. That was the question given to them. All right. And this was somewhere around the year, that is around 2004, 2006 or so. Okay. So basically, you can say that it is at the cusp of where Reliance came up with their, those mobile phones, which were not like smartphones, but they were the mobile phones with, and they came up with a very good, very accessible kind of packages and all that. All right. So that was at that time. Okay. So what we should see on a positive aspect is that, yes, every day we are using online sites, we are using UPI payments and all such things. But I would just like to let everyone know that the UPI payments design was actually, for the precursor for that was the mobile payments forum, which was developed at the IDRBT, and that was in consultation with IIT Bombay, IIT Madras, and many such people. And there, what they did was that they did not go for the very most advanced technology. They actually went for the most basic technology, which is the messaging technology, which is now, even now, it's a very base technology. It doesn't need any 5G or 4G or anything. It is really that, even from the 2G level days onwards, the messaging technology is available. So what we have to understand is that we have to learn that if we are building digital empowerment platforms, we should look for and design and build for the lowest common denominator. Okay. So if you want to say that how come that UPI and all such things is a great success, it is because at the basic level of the design, they said that it is a messaging platform. Okay. After all, for banking systems, the most important thing is just a message about debit and credit. Okay. And then they found that the basic messaging which is there with the 2G systems is the easiest one. And if we want to see that, and if we look at it, in fact, that has empowered and enabled a very large number of people who are, somewhat outside a banking system, outside a financial system, to have access to the transactional payments. Okay, which were not the very big transactional payments, which the more, you can say that the more entitled people were having about, so hundreds, or I mean, thousands of rupees or lakhs of rupees. This is about the everyday, the they say that tea stall kind of 5-6 rupees kind of payments, or even that 1 rupee kind of 1 or 2 rupee kind of things, which if you wish to use some amenities at a metro station, you would want to use. That is also there. So uh, what I'm trying to, sort of imply with this is that we have it within us to design technologies wherein, if we look at and think of the common denominator, so we should think of and design technologies which is useful at the common denominator, and those are the ones which we should really look for and see that how that is going to help and, so empower more lives. Okay, I think from positive aspect, that is the way we should be thinking about and planning these things. Okay, because as I said earlier, the growth of technology will be inexorable, but we have to look at and see and design that what should be the future in which there is a place for everyone who are going to benefit from these technologies.
Um, so if I, as a teacher, if I talk about ChatGPT the way the professor has spoken, because now ChatGPT is there, it is with us, and whether to use it or not, it's a big question mark. So can I tell my students not to use the ChatGPT? It is not possible because I can't supervise and see that whether they are using it or not. But I think with every new technology, we faced this problem. See, when calculators came, we thought that, we will lose the power of calculating numbers, all those things, but we accepted that. I think with when computers came, we thought that, most of the jobs will erode because of that. And we accepted that, and we progressed with the computerization of many fields. In the same way, I think when we look at the ChatGPT, it is going to be with us, and it is going to become more powerful in the coming days. So now what I thought is, instead of giving direct questions or direct assignments to the students, I make them, in one class, previous class, I just experimented with my students that how you can use ChatGPT to produce a good assignment. So how they can make it as their personal assistant. Instead of just copy and pasting, just give the assignment title and it will give you the, write the entire assignment and you just paste it. And instead of that, how you can develop that. So that session was very useful for me. And even now, few of the students call and tell that, ChatGPT has become a big personal assistant for me. Because in journalism, for example, if you see, ChatGPT can write you a story, but ChatGPT can't go and do the ground reporting. So still, you can use the ChatGPT to write your story, but the essence of the story, you have to get it from the ground. So still that human angle and human aspect is there in many areas, and we should think about that. And the other thing, not only the ChatGPT, but when we talk about the other technologies also, see, UPI, we talk about the positives of UPI. See, now we all do that. We don't even handle with the cash. But with UPI, you would have seen there are number of cyber frauds which are happening through that particular platform. So there is positives and negatives in that. I don't know how to navigate through that and come out of it. It will be a big challenge in the coming days because, earlier the new technologies used to come at a different periods. But now that if you have to proficient in one technology and within that there is a new technology to understand that is becoming a biggest difficult task for all of us, I think.
Thank you. I think we have, yeah.
Okay, since it was about ChatGPT and the results from ChatGPT and all that, I will go a bit technical. What I will say is that when we have what is called as large language models. In the large language models, we have say, like, let's say millions and millions of documents have been inserted, and the model has been trained for that, and the training is not on one particular word or one particular term, but it is statistical. Okay, it is statistical in the sense that when a large number of documents have been referenced and we try to get the word in context, what words had preceded it, what words have followed it. Okay, that's how we get in context what that. And the large language model is, you can say, it is some kind of a storage and retrieval. You give a query, based upon that it tries to look and find is a good statistical match, and then it retrieves that. All right. So in this kind of large kind of language models and their training and all that, what happens is that the retrieval is not exact and correct. In fact, that when this term in the technical language, it is called as hallucination. The generative AI models, they are prone to hallucination. So as what Professor Madhvi has said, that in journalism and other such things, you have to get the facts right. That's the first principle. So if anyone who's say just going to sit in an office and write their report using ChatGPT, you can see what is going to come out from that. Okay, so this is the thing which, in fact, this is a very current topic of research, wherein I am advising a student who is supposed to come up with a research method and algorithm to stop the hallucination of the large language models. Okay, that was one of the things which I wish to intervene about. The other thing is which I wish to say, for every technology, which is that uh, there is a human being behind the technology. So if there are frauds happening, there are people who are sort of working for the fraud, for to make those frauds happen. Okay, we are if you are going to use a technology, there will be something which is there with respect to that. It is still a human problem. Okay, the technology is a tool. Everybody should know and understand that, like, or maybe the famous laws of against arms in the United States. People used to say that the person who is behind the gun is more important, like that. So it is, yes, it is true for any enabling technology as well. All right, still, it's not that the fraud should be allowed or they should be permitted or anything. We have to find out, it's things are still very new. We'll have to come up with ways and now to find out how to block such kind of things. And in fact, one of it was a eye opener for me when I visited along with my colleagues from our school and department. We visited the Telangana police cyber security cell, where they have a center of excellence for the cyber frauds. And then they came up and have shown that what type of modus operandi and all those things which they have uncovered. And I mean, like, there is a measure, there is a countermeasure, and so on and so forth. The warfare continues. Okay, so and I'm sure that although we are not going to stop using certain technologies because of somebody else's misfortune with respect to the technology.
Thank you. I think I would like to, come to an end to this discussion with asking a very important question, because all of you are working with very young minds, right? You are shaping the future of tomorrow while we talk about the future of digital society. And these are students, unfortunately, who do not have a choice but to be digital. They're making friendships online, they're dating online, they're constantly online, they're texting, they're doing entertainment, they're learning things online, like you said. So now that you have a generation that is online all the time, what does the future look like for them? Like, what is the future of digital for students? Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing is probably there are certain drawbacks to that also, because lot of emissions coming out of these particular devices and usage of the electronic gadgets for that particular moment of time. And of course, there is a real need to restrict that. Recently, I was doing one of the session to some of the people, and I gave them first assignment that it was a gathering like this. I said, please stop usage of your mobile for 3 hours in a day. For 3 hours in a day, not during sleep. Okay, because these devices we give a lot of emissions, and of course there's a lot of side effects to that. And now even therapies have started to stop these particular youngsters. Okay, and of course, as you said, people are very much to it. I'll tell only, forget about others. I'll tell my own, okay, younger son's case, where mother asked him to please get the notes and study, and she asks question and he answers. So where is your notes? No, I don't have notes. From where you got it? I asked Google. He says. No, but see, the thing is, people have missed writing, because after the pandemic, we had a tough job in our university system. So I did one thing, probably my dean also knows that. Like, I told the students that, you have to just write for 3 hours. Sit and write for 3 hours. Okay, don't think also. Okay, see some paper, see some textbook, get some textbook, sit and write for 3 hours. Let me tell you, nobody was able to sit even for 2 hours. So we need to, of course, not totally go online, but we need to have a balance between them. And of course, just to extend that question of ChatGPT, that also generates a lot of source code today, programming. But of course, it cannot give the logic. So we need to ask them at least, no, okay, you have generated the code through it. Please tell what it does. Please debug it like this. So we need to get a balance between them. We should not be totally online. Otherwise, probably they'll not start thinking about it. And of course, some of these particular hazards has to be taken care. Okay, like, probably we have a rule at our home where we switch off Wi-Fi at certain particular moment of time. It becomes very difficult though, but we need to come up with certain strategies like that. And of course at local level, and probably see what can be done to the society. Thank you.
Okay, this is where WhatsApp Academy is very useful. The WhatsApp Academy tells me of how a mom is controlling the dinner time. So the pictures show that the mom announces, dinner is ready, nobody comes. Okay, then she switches off the Wi-Fi and says dinner is ready. Next moment everybody is there. Then this is one of the stories. Another story from the WhatsApp Academy is about two people how they met online, and once they met online, and they had their romance online. Okay, and then they decided to get married, but because they were really too far apart, so they decided to do the marriage online. And afterwards, later on, they had the lover stiff or whatever, and then they thought that they are not good for each other, and then they split the two online. So so what is the meaning of this type of a kind of a engagement? I don't know. Okay, whether somebody finds that it is meaningful or what, I don't know. Okay, so but this is it is happening. It is a kind of a byproduct of that. Um, and I am a big fan of science fiction and all that. So all such kind of experiences will make me lead to one of the you can say epic movies, which is the Matrix, right? So if we extrapolate some of these things, it will lead us to the Matrix. And then we need to think that, okay, are we in that Matrix now? Have you already entered the Matrix? All right, it's really we have to think about that. And the philosophical further philosophical things is like, um, I'm told, I'm not very sure about that, but uh, those people who have written the Matrix scripts, etc., they were heavily influenced by our Indian philosophical thing, or that Maya. Okay, so sa ma ya Maya, meaning what is not is Maya, right? So if we start thinking, this is all kind of Maya, some kind of Maya. All right. So if we are able to get that much of wisdom to distinguish between what is and what is not, okay, so maybe then we are better human beings.
So I think that the future will be, because this generation has tested everything. Like they have become an experimental field for all these technologies. Now, see, recently what has happened in a class I just asked, because I teach digital and interactive media. So in the beginning of the class, I asked how many of you are in the social media platforms. So in a class of 26. 18 people said they are on the at least one or two digital platforms, and 6 to 7 people said that they are not in any digital platform. That was really a surprising thing for me. So then I called them individually and asked why you are not there. So they said that, ma'am, enough of it. It's waste of time. I can't project myself in a different this thing. And if I project myself what I am, people are not accepting me. So it is creating a lot of health issues and mental issues for me. It is better that now I am happy with reading the book and going to the library and referring whatever I like. So I think slowly they are also realizing it. After that, I'm a little bit hopeful on a positive this thing, that at least next generation which is coming, they will be very careful with what they want to access and how they want to access it.
Thank you to Professor Salman, Professor Atul, and Professor Madhvi. I've had a really good time moderating the session for you, and I think we leave the audience with the question of whether you want the red pill or the blue pill. The choice is yours. Thank you.